and welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another astrology oracle reading for you. As always, I have created an event chart, which is like a birth chart, but for an event or a specific time, right? Or something happening. This can be done for businesses opening. This can be done for filing your LLC. It can also be for weddings. So you can create a chart for literally anything. Every time I do one of these readings, I create a chart to reference, which I really try to manifest that the right card comes up for the right reading. And so far, this is our 14th episode, or I should say, I guess, my 14th episode. And today we have a chart with both a late Gemini sun and a late Leo rising. So actually both of them for 11:11 a.m. on May 20th are at 29 degrees. So I will include a link in the show notes below, or is that what you call these? Show notes? Video caption? I don't know. Anyway, I will include a link below to a blog that I wrote about degree theory. And the 29th degree is what we call an anaretic degree or a critical degree. So the 29th degree is really the final moment before a planet ingresses into the next sign. So we have the sun in Gemini at 29 degrees, which means that we are about to enter into Cancer season, the solar season of Cancer. And, you know, we're also amping up towards the summer solstice, and next week we're going to have a new moon in Cancer. So just to kick off the summer with some big luminary energy. As we know, the moon and the sun are the two major luminaries. So when the sun is in Cancer, you know, the emotional part of ourselves, the heart center, right, the heart chakra, all becomes super activated. And in my opinion, summer is like the perfect time for this to happen. But today we are still experiencing the sun in Gemini, so just rounding out that energy. And we are also at the final degree of Leo as the rising sign. So the next time that I create a video for you all, we will have a rising sign in Virgo. And as you go back and review, if you choose to do so, and look at some of the older videos and readings that I've created, you will see how we've gone from, you know, Gemini rising into Cancer rising into Leo rising, and just seeing that progression over time, week by week, is always really cool in my opinion, just to kind of make note of. We also have a Pisces moon, super spiritual energy going on here. At the time of this reading, 11:11 a.m., the Pisces moon is at 23 degrees, which means it is making a conjunction with Neptune, which is at 25 degrees of Pisces. And again, you will have a link below that gets into some of the meanings and specifics around degree theory. But another thing that's really important here, again, is that conjunction that's being made. So I will also include a link to a blog I wrote about aspects where you can learn what a conjunction is, as well as some of the other positions that you may see in your birth chart or in the horoscope if you use an app or something like that. So a conjunction between the moon and Neptune in Pisces. This is activating our dreamscape. This is such an incredible time to just get really creative, especially if you are an artist. This week is basically the perfect time to create art. So yeah, if you are an artist or somebody who's just feeling artistically inclined, then definitely, in my opinion, the energy is beautiful for this. And one other thing just to emphasize that is, which I've mentioned before, Mars and Chiron are at 16 and 19 degrees of Aries, meaning they too are in a conjunction. And there's a lot of motivation for healing. So between this moon and Neptune behavior, this Mars and Chiron behavior, and ingressing into the sign of Cancer with the sun, to me, again, this is all about healing. This is about art. Definitely a lot is coming out of the heart chakra this week. So if you are someone who experiences blockages or who is having a blockage in the heart chakra, this is such a great week to do something very therapeutic for that. Now let's get to the cards. So, after all of that, it's a very fantastic week to just, again, get into the artistic side of things, which I think is a nice change of pace. You know, I think for the last few months, so much of the astrology has been heavy with Saturn and heavy with Pluto, and trust me, it still is. Those are very slow moving planets, and so the transits that they are going through just last a lot longer. But to me, like, this is just a nice wave of creative, inspirational, again, heartfelt energy, and I think we can certainly all use that. All right, so hoping that Spirit can help us channel the right message. And I'm looking at this card. It's a little bit lifted. Cancer, I feel perfect timing, as the sun will be moving into Cancer tonight, basically. So we have the sun right now at 29 degrees. That means that the sun is basically done with its experience in Gemini and will be taking us into Cancer season. So Cancer is cardinal water energy. It is the only cardinal water sign. So if you ever see that group of words together, cardinal water, you know instinctively that it will be Cancer. So what cardinal is referring to is the other zodiac signs: Libra, Capricorn, of course we have Cancer, and then Aries. The reason they're referred to as cardinals because they all come at the beginning of a season. And as we know, with the beginning of Cancer season, we get to experience the summer solstice. In Libra season, we get to experience the fall equinox. In the Aries season, we get to experience the spring equinox. And then in Capricorn season, we get to experience the winter solstice. So all of these are marking the beginning of the changing of a season. So cardinal energy, unlike fixed energy, which is where we have been for quite some time with all of that Taurus energy, and also with the cardinal fire we have coming from Aries, these seasons tend to kind of bring with them, again, like the beginning of something, the initiation of something. Now, we don't typically resonate cardinal energy with like completing those things, but these are the great motivators, right? If you have cardinal energy around you, then you feel really excited just to like get something started, to try something new. And so with the beginning of the summer and the summer solstice, with this Cancerian energy, you know, perhaps we can take from the mantra, which is I feel. Now, as a water sign, we know that Cancer has a lot of emotional energy surrounding it. And that is the case for all water signs. But the thing with Cancer is so much of what it, you know, the caring and what it's trying to do with that caring is truly nurture, right? So there's a lot of, you know, energy with Cancer that is very caring, very sincere, very compassionate, you know, which is maybe not something that you get from some of the other cardinal signs. You know, like Aries, for example, is not particularly known for being a very compassionate sign, but then Libra really is. So Cancer and Libra energy do have some similarities in that they're great starters, they're very creative, they're very compassionate. The way that they show those things is just very different based on some of the other rulerships and archetypes of those signs. But Cancer, again, is ruled by the moon. So as we enter into the summer season, we start with Cancer and then we're followed by Leo. And this is actually something I talked a little bit about in my recent newsletter, which if you do not have, please sign up. There will be a link in the show notes below. But what I really think is interesting about the summer is that both of the major luminaries get activated, right? So Cancer is ruled by the moon. This is the lunar solar season, if you will. And then following that, we have Leo, which is like the solar season, right? It's like the dead heat of the summer. And that is, you know, where the sun is one of the major luminaries is getting all of its joy, and then in Cancer season with the moon luminary getting all of its joy. Now, something to take note of, and I will mention more of next week On the 28th, we do have a new moon in Cancer. So again, if you're looking into doing anything creative, emotive, very expressive, then the next couple of weeks are really setting us up to tap in, you know. Cancer is also associated with the 4th house, which I have discussed before, and I'll include a link to that video. And this is all about our roots, the beginnings, the foundation of who we are. Now, one thing I always love to talk about with the zodiac is the sibling signs. So the sibling sign to Cancer is Capricorn, and it is associated with the 10th house and Saturn. So opposite to that, we have the 4th house and Cancer and the moon. Now, some ancient astrologers and modern astrologers alike reference Saturn as a very fatherly figure and the moon as a very motherly figure. Obviously, in 2022, families are way more complex, so apply those archetypes as you will. But in general, Cancer energy is to think of as the parent who perhaps nurtured you the most. You know, now what that actually looked like and how that played out for you is going to be very specific to your chart, but wherever you have Cancer energy in your birth chart is a good indicator of the parent that had to provide the nurturing to you and perhaps what that experience was like. And again, opposite to that is Capricorn. So it's interesting to see the axis of these energies play out, as with all sibling signs. You know, I tend to talk about this a lot. Also, again, the other sibling signs that are within this cardinal energy, Libra and Aries, something I talk about a lot as a Libra Sun and Mercury. So it's just good to kind of check in and like understand, you know, the dynamics that are at play. So Cancer, very lunar, very, very lunar energy. That new moon in Cancer is going to be extremely fortifying and a great time to initiate a new cycle of healing. You know, Cancer energy, in my opinion, the Cancers that I've ever met, especially those who have that Sun-Mercury conjunction where both of those planets are in the same sign with Cancer, they tend to be very artistic, and I mean very artistic. Beautiful handwriting, great at painting, just very, very expressive. And if you in any way relate to that energy, then again, the next 2 weeks are very, very supportive of you, you know, just tapping into that. And a couple of the things that I can point out in the chart that I'm referencing, you know, we have that Moon and Neptune conjunction in a fellow water sign, but then we also have Mars and Chiron in a fellow cardinal sign. So really, just to kind of break down what those mean, you know, we have the moon, our emotions, Neptune, the illusions and fantasies and dreamscape. We also have Chiron, who is the wounded healer. And then we have Mars, which is very motivational, get it done energy. And so the energy is ripe for healing. You know, whether you do any sort of like talk therapy or art therapy or group therapy, or even just start spending more time in nature, particularly by water, since we will be in a very watery solar season starting this week. You know, all steams ahead, you know, all green lights, truly. And funny enough, this card is green, but all green lights to doing those things. You know, Cancer, you know, and I like to say this about our moon, you know, Cancer tends to be very much focused on, you know, caring for others and nurturing others, but our moon sign is a great indicator of how we can better nurture ourselves. You know, so whether or not you are someone who has, you know, Cancer in your big three or not, again, somewhere in your birth chart that energy falls. So you will experience the new moon somewhere. And again, sign up for my newsletter because I will be sending out new moon horoscopes next week. So I do want to just check in really quickly to talk about where the chart is currently. So again, in this event chart, we have that Leo rising. So that is putting Cancer at the 11th house. I'm using Placidus house systems, by the way, not whole sign. So the 11th house is like the house of friendships and social systems. So the way that this energy is playing out in this chart right now is basically finding your family in the collective, in other people. You know, Cancer, again, associated with the 4th house of roots, it's looking for a place to feel at home. And in this particular chart for Dayton, Ohio at 11:11 a.m. today, it's calling for finding home in friendships. And I resonate with that. You know, I think we can all resonate with that. And a lot of these friendships have to be digital. So again, if you're looking into any kind of opportunity to connect with other people, you know, don't discount what technology can do for us. You know, social media may be a very toxic and complicated place, but it is a resource nonetheless, right? So just something to consider. I am going to read a page out of my little book here, just because, as I always say, I love the quotes that are associated with the zodiac signs here and all of the, you know, planets and everything else. I don't know, it really, to me, as a Libra Mercury especially, I like the idea of painting pictures with words, and I think that like these quotes do a great job of that. All right, so again, the mantra for Cancer is I feel. And the quote here is, your feelings are your God. The soul is your temple. Like, just so beautiful. Rely upon the wisdom of what you're feeling. There's a depth of feeling that may not easily be seen. You may at this time feel the need to hide your feelings, or you could be feeling emotionally vulnerable. This could maybe have you coming at situations very sideways, which, you know, sometimes is a good opportunity to escape hurt, but at the same time may not be productive for you in the long haul. You may have to double down on moving forward in something just because the emotions are so hard to deal with, and that is valid, and also why resources like therapists and friends are really important. Cancer is the sign of the mother, something I've mentioned before. They're resilient, endure a lot, and can overcome just about anything, but they are particularly sensitive. This is the sign associated with imagination, having a rich fantasy life. Whenever this comes up in a reading, emotions may be high, and you may be feeling the need to withdraw. Now, you know, again, what's so interesting about kicking off the summer, which is perhaps the most social of all seasons, is that the moon is the major luminary to come first, right? Like, so something to think about and something to kind of ponder on. Like, interesting that we enter the most social season of the year with emotions at the highest. Just something that I'm definitely going to be marinating on a little bit. You could definitely be in sync with other people's emotions at this time. Trust your instincts. You will know what to do. This card can also have something to do with family and domestic issues that must be addressed. This can also be the maternal figure in your life, or perhaps some type of women's issues that are playing out in your home. Your moods may be very changeable, and pain may be feeling very physically real, even if it is not a physical wound. It's just a good time to, again, release whatever negative emotions that are coming up for you right now through some means of art. And if you yourself aren't an artist, you know, you can still appreciate a good album. You can still tour an art gallery. Just get in touch with your feelings, and definitely don't be afraid to do that. So, Cancer, I feel. What are you feeling this week? Let's talk about it in the comments, maybe, you know? Again, we are moving into the most social season of the year, and we're doing so while a lot of things are really, really difficult in the world. So how do you feel about that? Think about it. Even if you don't want to share, just think about it. How are you feeling? So that is all I have for you this week. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I'm so grateful that you are here. Links below will be for newsletter, some blogs that I might find relevant for you to check out, and please like and subscribe. It does help people find these videos, and the more I can help, the more I can appreciate every one of you being here. So thank you, and I will see you next week. Bye.